All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. I've got myself an Arsenal fan here, a very good friend of mine as well, good friend of the channel. Scott is here, massive Arsenal fan, and he's buzzing. Look at the smile in his face, and why shouldn't he be buzzing? Scott, how you doing, my man?
Doing well, man. Doing well. We were just saying before the stream, this fixture's rolled around again. And for us, it's been happy memories of recent. So long may it continue, but always a pleasure to be back, Miz. Always a pleasure.
No, good to have you. I think we're going to have some fine conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not really, you'll get my preview later tonight, UK time, with my lineup. This is more just to get some juicy conversation flowing. Not really a preview, but more of a build up to the match. And as I said, talk about those key little bits and pieces that's been flying around in social media, and everyone wants to talk about it. Obviously, Aubameyang being a huge topic, but we'll talk about many other things as well. But before we do that, just for old time's sake, as you guys remember, Scott used to be, we used to have a show called Down Under Football. What was it? Down Under Football Crew. Down Under Football Crew. It's been so long, I've completely forgotten the name. But here's the intro for some old timers' sake.
That's still a great intro.
It's such a good intro. It's such a good intro, man. It really is. Scott, let's get down to the nitty-gritty on this particular match. First of all, let me just give you my initial feelings, and then I want to hear from you as well. Do you know what? About a year ago, when we were looking at this fixture and we were doing the Down Under Football Crew shows and whatnot, it always used to be a banter. Do you know what I mean? Like, I used to look forward to Arsenal matches, and Arsenal would always, put up something special on the weekend, a loss here or a abysmal performance there, and it was the laughing stock. And you'd probably agree. However, as the season progressed and it went to the latter stages, you guys did start to click into gears, and it just didn't happen right at the end with the top four. I think you would admit it as well. You bottled it, but you can see things sort of changing. You can see the attitude changing. You can see some sort of a philosophy happening. And then obviously this season, some really key recruitments. Pre-season, you guys looked very sharp. I have to say, I expected you guys to do well. And obviously from the back of the pre-season, I was really impressed. But I never expected you guys to do this well this season. Like, let's be honest. Like, I never expected that. I want to hear from you. Is this a bit beyond expectation from you?
Mate, that makes two of us, Miz. I was expecting an improvement, of course, on last season, and that wasn't hard. We were disappointing. Yeah, and we did bottle it right at the end when the pressure was on. But from what I'm seeing this season, it looks like the squad has grown from that. Mentally, they all look stronger. We're more resilient in those games when things go against us. And we've got a lot more consistency in the squad. We've been playing up until recent times the same back four, the same centre mids. We've got our structure. So I think that's a big part of why we're doing so well. And Miz, I'm enjoying the football, man. But as I always say on our channel, I'm enjoying it while it lasts, because in the Premier League, anything can happen. This is a big league, and these are big teams that are about to do battle. So enjoying it while it lasts.
Fair enough. Very humble sort of take on that. I have to say, man, Scott, I'm worried moving into this fixture. I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm going to keep it very honest. Look, we've got a new manager. A lot of things up in the air. A lot of injuries to key players as well. Reece James is a huge loss once again, much like last season, this season as well. Not only he's defensively a stronghold, but attacking-wise, he produces assists, he produces goals. And we are lacking in that department massively. On the left side now, Ben Chilwell is injured as well, and he was starting to look really good against Zagreb. But I was like, wow, this guy's pace is slowly coming back. He was making some really good runs, some good movements, and then he's injured as well, on top of the long-term injuries with N'Golo Kante, Fofana, and our midfield just doesn't look right. Koulibaly has been a bit on and off, and now Cucurella, his form's a bit on and off. I have to say, I'm looking at your team. Gabriel Martinelli, probably one of the best left-sided winger in the Premier League. Saka, probably one of the best right-sided, not just a winger, creator. Gabriel Jesus, Odegaard, Xhaka, Partey and the lot. I mean, I'm worried, but I won't be surprised, Scott, if we do get something at Stamford Bridge. And by something, I mean win, because we are Chelsea Football Club. We are capable of doing that. But what's your feeling moving into this match? Are you confident? Are you looking for a win? What's the thought process from an Arsenal fan's point of view?
Look, for me, we need to win. Yeah, we're in very good form. Losing, you can almost guarantee Man City will win. And if we lose this and they win, well, we're not first anymore. So I'm quite enjoying being top of the table, Miz. So for me, we need to approach this and make a statement. This is what I'm looking at as a statement match for Arsenal, because one of the criticisms is you haven't done it against big oppositions, or you haven't done it in the tough matches. Well, we've beaten Spurs, we've beaten Liverpool, and I don't care about Liverpool Storm. They're still a tough match. I think now beating Chelsea would be very good for us. And we've had the stick over you in recent history. I think it's 4 out of our last 5 we've won. So
we can't beat you guys. Besides that Lukaku one last season, we really can't beat you guys. For some reason, even if you feel like a B team or a C team, it always ends up beating us. I don't understand.
But you know what, Miz? This is a derby, yeah? There's a London derby between two bitter rivals. You've got that extra layer of this story with Aubameyang in your team as well. So it's going to be a toasty match. And no matter how confident you are in a derby, anything can happen. Like, who'd have thought that Liverpool were going to beat Man City the other week? No one thought it. But you go into a game fired up against rivals, and anything can happen. Like, there's more hate in this fixture than there is in Liverpool City. And the hate in Liverpool City got them over the line. So you never know. But Miz, my feelings, I'm confident, mate. This is the least nervous I've ever been going into this. And look, it's probably going to come back and make me look stupid, and I won't read the comments in a few days.
I hope it does.
But in all seriousness, when you look at it just at a base level, the way we're playing, the way you're playing, your injuries against our lack of injuries, you've got a novice manager at this level. We've got a manager who's at least had time with the club. You could probably still say novice, but it's his club. Like, all the things are there in our favour, and if we don't win, it'll be a disappointment for me.
No, fair point. There's a couple of really good points that you said, which I want to elaborate later on. The novice manager versus Arteta. Arteta is getting touted for Barcelona job, apparently. Like, there's some rumors that Barcelona's after him. So we'll talk about that down the track. You did talk about the animosity, the rivalry, and how crazy, these two clubs, they hate each other. Let's be honest, they do hate each other, and the matches are quite fierce. There's at times red cards as well, and some mistaken identity red cards as well, I won't forget. But this is where we need to talk about Aubameyang, where the situation spices up a little bit. I don't know if you saw the video yesterday, and as you can see at the bottom over there, I'm back, I'm ready, I'm blue. Nothing personal. He does say nothing personal, Arsenal fans. I mean, I want to ask you, because obviously you're very close-knitted to the Arsenal fan base. You see what's going on in Twitter and whatnot. You're well on top of all of those stuff. How did Arsenal take that video, the fans in general, and yourself as well? How did you take that video?
Mate, look, I was one of, I would say, a smaller percentage who, when he was released last season, I actually wasn't happy with how it all went down, because at the very least I wanted to get some money for him, like not to just pay a guy to go. But with All or Nothing coming out, and with some of the stuff he's done on social media since moving, it kind of makes me feel like he probably was the one who instigated the negative feelings between him and Arteta. This isn't the first time it's happened either. It didn't end in a beautiful way at Dortmund. Barcelona, he was kind of there and then sold. And it will probably in the same way at Chelsea. I mean, unfortunately for him, this is a player that brought me a lot of joy, but he's at this point in his career where outside of social media or a catchy video, he's not really relevant anymore, is he? I mean, he's not talked about as one of the top strikers in the league. He's not banging in the goals. He's not setting like outside of social media now. Aubameyang is on that decline. And I would say for you as a Chelsea fan, have you been completely satisfied with the player you got?
I mean, look, I was up for getting him. I mean, he wasn't my first choice. Let's be honest. The first choice was Gabriel Jesus, which you guys ended up getting.
Thank you.
He was the one that I wanted badly, and it never happened. After that, everyone was a bit of a secondary situation. There was talks about Richarlison. There was talks about Lewandowski to a certain degree, but he always wanted Barcelona. There's always XYZ rumors about Harry Kane, which would never going to happen. And obviously, we lost Lukaku to Inter Milan. He wanted to go back. Timo Werner wanted to move out as well. And there was a point where I was really keen on Cristiano Ronaldo as well. I was like, do you know what? That's just a lot of...
I'd take him over Auba.
Yeah, like a lot of sentimental value and nostalgia growing up watching him. And I was more caught up on that sense as opposed to this sort of strategical side of things. So when Aubameyang's name popped up, Scott, I'm not going to lie. Like, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll take him. Like, Auba is still good enough. I was watching a lot of Barcelona. He was scoring some very good goals over there in Barcelona. But then again, Barcelona last season, they were playing a lot more attractive type of football, and they were creating a lot of stuff where he was getting at the end of. This season, obviously, he came in a bit late into the piece on the final day. Thomas Tuchel, when he literally only had 56 minutes under Thomas Tuchel, then Thomas Tuchel got sacked. He's had to adapt under the new coach. And he started off well under Graham Potter. Like, he had 3 goals in a row. I think a couple of goals against AC Milan, or maybe a goal against AC Milan. And then throughout, he scored a few other goals against other teams. But for the past probably about... 3 or 4 games, he's been a bit out of sync again. So I hear you, man. I completely hear you that he may be on the decline. I don't think we are going to see Aubameyang after this season. There's a whole heap of rumors. We're getting a lot of different players. Nkunku, I don't know if you're aware, we're very heavily linked with Nkunku, and it's probably happening. Rafael Leao is someone who we're going after as well. So I'm not sure whether Aubameyang is here for the long run. Maybe to a certain degree, Scott, you're probably right. He is probably on the decline, man. He is probably on the decline.
He is. This is a guy who was winning FA Cups and getting up there near that golden boot race. He certainly is in the decline, and I do wonder with him. And again, Aubameyang brought me so many good memories in an Arsenal shirt, but I do wonder how much his attitude and the people he surrounds himself with outside of football get in the way. But in saying all of this, Miz, he's going to be fired up for this game. He hates Mikel Arteta. He hates Mikel Arteta. I don't think he has animosity towards the squad, but the staff.
I don't even think he has animosity towards your fan base as well. I think he gets along with your fan base.
No, yeah, look. Even that video, a lot of people just kind of laughed him off almost, but it was a 50-50 reaction. Some were really annoyed. And I guess I'd probably fall into that camp. I'm like, why are you trying to hype? Just concentrate on your football. We all know you don't really want to be at Chelsea. He doesn't really want to be there. He doesn't have love for your club.
Apparently that was the BT Sports
promo.
Promo. I mean, would you be annoyed at him that he got reached out to do that? They're building up something. I mean, can you really blame the guy? Like, a lot of people were saying he could say no to it, but I'm thinking, why would he say no to it? Probably got paid for it.
He loves it, Miz. He loves that role and having that spotlight on him. And he's probably going to lift and have his best game for you this season against us, because he'll want to prove a point to Mikel Arteta. And Aubameyang can score goals. If you put him through with good service and you give him space, which guys like Mason Mount and Havertz are capable of creating, he'll score. Like I'm not saying he's a finished player. I'm just saying he's a declining player who's probably going to have the game of his life against us. I just hope it's not enough, because he's Chelsea now, so he's the enemy.
I honestly hope that the headline is Aubameyang sinks
score.
Arsenal.
He'll
I just
score.
hope it is 1-0, Auba, and then the backflip as well. I hope he celebrates. I really do hope you do.
I think he'll flip. I don't think he'll do an Adebayor. I think he'll flip, and that'll be it.
I think, to be honest, the Adebayor thing, I think that would be a bit over the top. If I'm being honest, I would lose my mind. I would be like, yeah, come on, give it to him, give it to them. But I think the flip is warranted. The flip needs to happen. Okay, enough about Aubameyang. Scott, let's talk about how you talked about Arteta, Graham Potter. Let's talk a little bit about this, because this is an interesting conversation. Live chat, we've got nearly 100 of you guys live right now. First of all, smash the like button. Let's push those likes to 100 immediately. The likes are the drug of the channel. This is how you grow the channel. If you guys enjoy the conversation, enjoy the interaction, smash up the like button straight away. I'm going to try and bring up as many comments as we can throughout this stream. And please make sure follow Scott and his socials. All the link is in the description, and also their channel, It's a Football Thing podcast. The link is there on the title. Please give them a subscription, subscribe to their channel. I think they're well above 700 and they're going towards 1,000. So please help them out. Okay, Scott, Graham Potter, Arteta. Do you know what? I don't even think he's a rookie manager anymore. I think he's now, seasoned in. Like, that's how I feel. Yes, he's not done well as yet for Arsenal, and probably how he's managed to keep the job. There's been several instances where he was probably seconds away from being sacked, borderline. But you guys kept true, your board kept true, and slowly but surely now you're seeing the fruits of it in terms of the results that's coming through. Obviously, a lot of people will say, but Miz, they have not won anything. I get it. I completely get it. You've not won anything. So we'll see.
FA Cup.
Oh, well, he's won an FA Cup. Yeah, Aubameyang won that one. I wish they didn't. That was against us. But, talking about Arteta and obviously Graham Potter, who's done really well at Brighton. But then again, that was Brighton. And, the expectation at Brighton is not as huge as the expectation at Chelsea Football Club. This is his first big stint. How do you see this matchup between Arteta and Potter? Do you look at one manager that has a bit of a know-how? Do you think Potter knows his way around in this Premier League? What's your thoughts about that situation?
It's a really, really tricky comparison to make, because they're both novice in their own way. Graham Potter is not novice in terms of managerial experience or knowing the Premier League, because he's done a phenomenal job with Brighton. But in terms of managing a big club where you're under that intense media and fan scrutiny, where losing a game is not just something you say, all good, we're Brighton, we lost, we'll bounce back next week. That's not the Chelsea mentality. So he's novice in the sense of that high-pressure environment, because let's be real, there's not high pressure at Brighton. The high pressure when he brought them up was stay up. Mikel Arteta is not a novice in terms of being in high-pressure situations at a big club, because he's been in plenty of them, but novice in terms of games under the belt. And sometimes still his substitutions concern me. We have an awful bench, but I feel sometimes he makes some really questionable calls. So these two managers, it's a big match for both for different reasons. Potter wants to establish himself at Chelsea. Arteta wants to keep the good times going, and I really don't know. I have less fear of Graham Potter than I did of Thomas Tuchel. I had so much respect for Tuchel. I thought he was an excellent manager.
Did Brighton have a good record against you guys in recent times under Graham Potter?
Reasonable. But very. I
remember watching a match early last season where Cucurella was giving Tomiyasu a hard time. That was, I think, the earlier stages. Did you guys end up beating them last season in the second game, or?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I do remember Kukurea giving Tomiyasu problems. Tommy won't be there. He won't play in this match. He's injured. So I think it'll be Ben White at right back, and you'll probably see Kieran Tierney at left back. Too soon for Zinchenko, I think.
Fair enough. Let's talk a little bit. I mean, look, everyone knows your attacking threat and your, solid style of football. But I want to flip this around a little bit. You watch all of Arsenal games this season, predominantly. You've been watching them for a very, very long time. But this season specifically, Scott.
Yeah.
Where is your concern? Where do you think Chelsea could hurt you? You've seen a lot of games this season. There's been instances, obviously, Gabriel Jesus has been a bit iffy here and there. Obviously, Man United on the counter got you guys as well at Old Trafford. Where do you feel that you're confident, obviously, moving into this game, but is there a certain place or places where Chelsea could exploit?
Look, quite simply, I think it's as the game goes on and we fatigue, our bench options are very poor, Miz. So once there's a little bit of fatigue in this team, kind of after the 75th minute, you hit them with some pace, you get some fast players on, and you can put our defenders on the spin. Gabriel Magalhaes really rocks and diamonds. He's generally a very good player, but when he's having a stinker, he's having a sinker. Like he's got a brain snap in him. It's kind of like Granit Xhaka has really settled down, and now this guy's stepped up and say, you know what, I'm going to be your unpredictable player. So I think if you press him particularly and you hit us with pace on that break, you could hit us. We've let in some suspect goals this season. So and that's come off a lot of individual mistakes. So you press Gabriel Magalhaes, you attack on the counter with lots of pace, and we could be in trouble. But are you going to play counter-attacking football at the bridge? That I don't know. I would. If I'm Graham Potter, I'm saying doesn't matter that we're at home. They're a better team than us at the moment. They're going to attack. Sit back, hit them on the break, and go with all our pace.
I think, to be honest, I can't see any other way, if I'm being absolutely honest. I know we are at home. I know we should be playing fearless football, but there's a lot of key players that are not available for us, which doesn't allow us to play the way we want to play. I've watched how Man United played against you guys. Sort of not really sat back, but it was a bit reserved. But when they had the ball, they made those really good passes and broke you guys, and then was able to score and capitalize on mistakes as well. And that's one thing we have to focus on. Let's talk about some of the matchups now. I mean, Scott, you've mentioned that you guys are most likely, as you said, a statement win, looking for the W. This is a chance. Perhaps if you get the win, maybe, who knows, you start believing, is this it? Could we perhaps continue on? I want to ask you, in terms of some of the matchups, I mean, Martinelli versus most likely maybe Azpilicueta, could possibly be someone else, maybe Ruben Loftus-Cheek or someone, out of the ordinary, could be Chalobah on that right side. I don't know, but most likely looks like it might be Azpilicueta on the left side, probably Kukurea and Koulibaly, and you've got Saka. I mean, are you expecting these boys at Stamford Bridge, along with Gabriel Jesus, Odegaard, to really come at Chelsea? Or, I mean, how's this match? How you think you're going to be playing this?
We've only really played one way when we've had our proper team out on the pitch. Some of the Europa games have gone differently, but mate, pace, attack down out wide and cause confusion and chaos in the box with skill and fast moves. Like, I fully expect Gabby Martinelli to put Azpilicueta on skates to give him a really, really hard match. Even, are you expecting Thiago Silva will start?
Has to.
Again, an excellent defender, but up against the skill and speed of our front, I really
we saw what happened against Brighton when they hit you with pace. It can get a bit scary for us.
If I'm Graham Potter, I'm really concerned about the pace of the Arsenal attack, because that's how we'll play. We aren't going to sit back. We're not going to counter. We're going to play attacking football. This is reminding me a little bit of the Arsenal team of the '06 season, where we just went out and we played our game. It wasn't, we didn't really modify it based on the opposition. We went out with the belief that we were better with the ball and we could control possession. So I do think we'll try and hit you as hard and fast as we can. And hopefully an early goal, Miz. An early goal in this game, and we're going to be treated to something really exciting, I think.
And that's what I worry, man. In recent times, we've been very shaky early on as well. Going back to the Aston Villa situation, we looked shaky. We came out of it with some individual performance. Brentford as well, early on, they were peppering us. Man United were all over us early on. And then, the trend continues. Obviously, Dynamo Zagreb in midweek in the Champions League got that early goal. I do expect us to be very resolute in defense. I think the focus probably will be defense. At the end of the day, your attack, let's be honest, is superior than our attack at the moment. Our attack is just not clicked under Graham Potter as yet. Yeah, early on when Reece James was around, we were looking good. It's crazy. A lot of our issues is closely related to Reece James.
What a player.
Sorry, what was that, Scott?
No, he's. I was asked on our podcast the other night, Miz, and I really would have come across as arrogant. I was asked who I'd take from Chelsea to put into our starting lineup, and my answer was at the moment no one. But Reece James, fully fit, I take him. I think he's the best right back in the league.
He goes into any team, Scott. Like, he'll be best right back in any team pretty much. Like,
these injuries
literally around the world.
Impact. These injuries, I feel for the kid. Like, he's such a good player. So
no, 100%, man, 100%. Going back to the point, as I said, I think we're gonna probably be resolute in defense. I feel like we're gonna play most likely a 3 at the back. I mean, this is just my opinion.
Yep.
We're gonna play with Aspie and Cucurella as wing backs. We may even have 3 midfielders in the likes of Zakaria, Jorginho, and Kovacic probably, and then up front Sterling and Aubameyang maybe. I probably think it's going to be on the counter, but I'm not quite confident in the counter as well. It's not like we do a lot of damage in counter. This is purely talking about what I've seen in recent times. But, Scott, anything is possible, man. Anything is possible. I think, do you know what? After a long time, we're going into this fixture and it's reversed. The psychology is reversed at the moment where you're very confident moving into this, and I'm not completely confident. Scott, a lot of fans from your fan base is saying that if this is a win, it's time to believe for the title. Is this true? Is this how you feel as well?
Yeah, absolutely, Miz. I mean, I'm not getting carried away, and I'm not saying we'll win the title if we beat Chelsea, but I'll start saying that we're title contenders then, because if we can beat you, we've then knocked off Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool, and we've beaten a lot of teams that have taken points from big teams. So it's really just, I want to see when we play Manchester City. I'm very intrigued to know how we perform in that fixture. But I want to come through this one at the bridge of all 3 points. So it's going to be big, but it is a sign of the times. I mean, you look at your club right now, new owner, he's come in and he's gutted the club. Like, a lot of football people who have been there are gone. Manager gone. Playing squad's changed. It's just like we talked about in that video we did. It would have been a couple of months ago, Miz. This is the start of Chelsea's process. You're just going to hope it's a lot quicker than ours has been. But yeah, it's just tumultuous times at Chelsea.
100%, man. It is tumultuous time. I can't, do you know what? I really cannot wait. I would love to be the team that just puts a stop to that smile of yours, Scott. It's just, I can't handle it. I can't handle Arsenal fans smiling so brightly and so happy and, thinking about a title run. It just, look, I know, kudos to you guys, but it just hurts. It hurts. Scott, let's talk about, I mean, obviously, you guys got Wolves, I think, right after this one.
I'm pretty sure it's Wolves. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's the thought process, I suppose, in January, you guys looking at probably, filling in some gaps as well? Like you're looking to strengthen because we heavily need to strengthen our team in January. What's your sort of outlook for the season? I mean, I think for you guys the expectation was top four, but obviously it's turning out to
Yep.
be a bit better than that. Is this how it is as still that top four is the priority, and then whatever happens after that happens, I suppose?
Spot on. I think it's going to come down to where we are on the table come the World Cup. Like they're already looking at booking in friendlies, etc. But if we're sitting top of the table when we break for the World Cup and we don't strengthen this squad, like fiercely strengthen this squad, I have to question the ambition of the owners, which I haven't done in a long time. Our bench is crying out for another striker, definitely a centre mid, and I'd probably even like another defender in as well, even a winger. We need better depth. We can't bring on Eddie Nketiah, even though he bullied you last time he played there, but we can't count on him if Jesus goes down injured. If Granit Xhaka or Thomas Partey is out, we're bringing in Mohamed El Neni, who does a job, but not a title-winning job. So we've got a very strong first 11, Miz. But if we're sitting top when that World Cup break comes and we don't strengthen, we are throwing away a golden chance because injuries are going to come. They're going to come. It's part and parcel of the game. The players are overworked. They're going to play a very hot World Cup. You better believe there's going to be fatigue and injuries, but we need to strengthen and show that ambition. That's my hope.
Fair point, man. Fair point. And I think that's how it should be, not just for your team. I think we need to strengthen massively during January. A couple other things before we slowly wrap things up, Scott. A few conversations have been lately happening about Gabriel Jesus as well. Has been missing out on some goals and whatnot, but I feel like he's still so paramount to your style of play. Like he got a couple of assists against Nottingham Forest, even though he didn't score, but he's so involved in everything. Like without him, I think you'd find it a little bit different to operate the way you guys have been operating. I mean, has your outlook, like, are you bothered that he's not really scoring? From an outsider looking in, I'm thinking it shouldn't really matter. Like he's still a very important part of the whole puzzle.
Miss, that's because we're not part of the XG generation, my man. The only XG I had growing up was my eyes and what I saw. So someone like Jesus is contributing so significantly to the team that I don't really care about his numbers. Too often in football, you can find numbers to make any player seem like the next Messi or Ronaldo. Like, I think we gas up numbers too much because I know when I watch, and I have watched all season, Gabriel Jesus, he's revolutionized our attack. He's driving
100%.
that press. He's opening up space for Martinelli, Saka. He's bamboozling defenders. Like, he's doing so much for our team that I'm not too fussed about the numbers. As long as we're winning and other players are taking advantage of what he's bringing, then he's doing a good job and I'm not concerned about it. It's, you even look back to when Liverpool won the Champions League, Bobby Firmino, similar, didn't necessarily get the goals, but you take him out of that team, that they were much weaker.
It didn't operate. Yeah, it didn't operate the way that it needed to. Last but not least, before we get a score prediction from you, Granit Xhaka, man, he's really turned it around for you guys. I've been watching quite a lot of Arsenal games, and as you said, that man Gabriel Jesus, who's doing a lot. I think his ability to come into midfield, which then at times also allows Xhaka to move into these really cheeky places inside the box. I think Odegaard's involvement as well to allow for those movements of Xhaka into the box, but Xhaka defensively as well, along with Thomas Partey. I mean, what has changed, man? I mean, this guy, I know Odegaard is your captain, but there were instances, I think it was against the Spurs game, Partey scored, and then it was Xhaka, who stopped the celebration and said, everyone come into a huddle, and you guys had a huddle whilst the goal celebration was going on. It looks like he's probably on-field real captain, but obviously Odegaard's the one that wears the armband. What's the go with Xhaka? How's your feeling with Xhaka? What's going on?
Look, I've still not forgiven him for the incident with the armband and, what he said to the fans. But if a player's pulling on the jersey, running out onto the pitch, you've got to support them while they're there. And credit to Granit Xhaka. This is the best season I've ever seen him play for Arsenal, popping up with some goals. He hasn't had those brain explosions. I think he's really just benefiting from the settled vibe amongst our squad. Things are very settled. There's not a lot of negative energy around the club. And he's a guy who really gets caught up in all of that. So he's just playing with confidence, Miz. And having Thomas Partey in the squad and having a stable defensive line, which we do, he's got that little bit more freedom to go and explore and not have to be a hatchet man. So I'm really proud of what he's doing. And I would just want to say thanks to your listeners. A couple of them have jumped over and subbed to our channel as well. So thank you to those guys from the live chat who have subbed. We really appreciate the support as well.
No, absolutely. No, thank you. But yeah, you're right, man. Granit Xhaka is doing a bit of a madness for Arsenal Football Club. But look, enough of that. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, this was more of just getting an Arsenal fan's point of view from Scott, who's been a massive part of the channel and a lovely, lovely person. As I said, my preview will be later on UK time tonight, probably after all of the Premier League game finishes. So do look out for how I feel and what I want. For me, this is a W, man. I know I'm worried. I know I've given Scott a lot of sort of, respect moving into this match. I think it's needed as well. I can't come out here with a whole heap of chess. But on my preview, when I do that, I'm going to be quite real because for me, with Brentford a draw, Man United a draw, and Brighton an absolute thumping that we got, I'm sorry. Find a solution, Graham Potter. Find a solution. Because this is a huge blockbuster at Stamford Bridge. And I know Scott wants a W, but so do we. And let the best team, I suppose, take it out. Scott, before we go, your score prediction.
I hate doing these because this is the one time, and we've been doing this a while, Miz. This is the first time I'm coming into this game for a bit of chess, a bit of confidence.
Yeah.
I'm going to tip a 3-1 win to Arsenal.
Wow. I don't think I can live if that's what happens. Honestly, I don't think I can live.
I just think our pace and our attack's really going to burn you. But now that I've tipped that, any Chelsea fans in the chat, go and support Chelsea in this, because me tipping a 3-1 Arsenal only means one thing. It's going to get messy for us. You'll probably beat us. My life.
Well, I hope that's exactly what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash the like button before you go. And to everyone, please subscribe to Scott and the boys over there, their channel. It's a Football Thing podcast. The link is literally on the title. Click on it, subscribe, and let them reach 1,000 subscribers. Until next time, everyone, take care and see ya.